How big are the Titans in Attack on Titan really? We all saw them tower over buildings and crush entire cities, but numbers on the screen mean nothing until you compare them to something you walk past every single day. Today, we are taking every major Titan from the series and placing them right next to the most iconic landmarks in the United States, starting from the smallest and working our way up to the most terrifying creature in anime history. Starting with the Cart Titan, who stands at just 13 feet tall. That is pathetically small. A standard New York City public bus is about 40 feet long and roughly 10 feet tall. The Cart Titan is barely taller than the bus you take to work every morning. If Pieck transformed in the middle of Times Square, tourists would barely notice her between the traffic. She would be completely invisible behind a single delivery truck. She is roughly the same height as a single floor of a Walmart supercenter. The average American front door is about 6.5 feet tall, meaning the Cart Titan could technically walk through a double door entrance if she ducked her head slightly. A standard basketball hoop in the United States is set at 10 feet high. The Cart Titan's eyes would be just 3 feet above the rim. In the original series, the Cart Titan compensated for its tiny size with insane endurance. Staying transformed for months without rest, Pieck could outlast every single Titan on this list in a battle of stamina alone. But standing next to any building in America, the truth is painfully obvious. This is the weakest and smallest Titan in the entire lineup. A Titan so small that a fire truck's extended ladder could reach over its head without even stretching to full length. And yet, every single Titan we are about to show you makes the Cart Titan look like an ant on the sidewalk, because the next one does not walk, it flies. Falco's flying Jaw Titan stands at roughly 49 feet tall, but its true size comes from its wingspan, which stretches over 130 feet wide from tip to tip. That is wider than a Boeing 737 airplane, the same plane that carries 180 passengers across the country every single day. To understand that scale, let's go to South Dakota. Mount Rushmore has 4 presidential faces carved into the granite, and each face measures about 60 feet tall from chin to forehead. Falco's entire Jaw Titan body is almost the exact same height as Abraham Lincoln's carved face on that mountain. Now imagine that face detaching from the rock, growing massive feathered wings, and diving directly at you with jaws strong enough to crack through the Warhammer Titan's crystal, the hardest material in the entire series. The Jaw Titan was always considered one of the weakest shifters, small, fragile, easy to overwhelm in a direct fight. Ymir's version was barely a threat. Marcel never got the chance to use it, but Falco's mutation changed everything. It became the first and only airborne Titan in 2,000 years of history. Every wall, every fortress, every military strategy in the series was designed to stop enemies on the ground. Nothing in Attack on Titan's world was prepared for a Titan that attacks from the sky, but Falco is still small compared to what is coming next, because there is one Titan whose entire body is the exact same height as the most famous statue in the entire country. Zeke's Beast Titan stands at 57 feet tall. The Statue of Liberty's head, measured from her chin to the very tip of her crown, is exactly 57 feet tall. Zeke's entire Beast Titan body is the same size as Lady Liberty's head. If Zeke stood right next to the Statue of Liberty's face on Liberty Island, they would be staring directly into each other's eyes at the exact same height. Now, remember what this Titan could actually do. Zeke's Beast Titan had the most devastating long-range ability in the entire series. He could crush boulders into fragments and hurl them with the accuracy of a professional major league pitcher throwing a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. During the Battle of Shingekinokyojin, he used this technique to completely overwhelm the Survey Corps in a matter of seconds with nothing but crushed rocks. No other Titan in history has demonstrated that level of precision at long range. If Zeke stood in the middle of Central Park in Manhattan, his presence alone would be terrifying. And yet, at 57 feet tall, he would be completely hidden behind most Manhattan buildings. The average New York City skyscraper is well over 300 feet tall. You would never even see him until it was too late. But 57 feet is nothing compared to the Titan that made the entire world tremble with fear. Armin's Colossal Titan stands at 197 feet tall. The Statue of Liberty, without her pedestal, measures 151 feet from her feet to the very tip of her torch held high above her head. The Colossal Titan is 46 feet taller than Lady Liberty herself. If they stood side by side on Liberty Island, Armin would be looking down at the torch she holds above her head. He could reach down and pluck it out of her hand like picking a flower from the ground. Now, add the full pedestal. The complete Statue of Liberty with her stone base stands at 305 feet total from the ground to the torch. Even with all of that extra height, the Colossal Titan would still reach her chest. A single Titan nearly as tall as the most iconic symbol of freedom in the entire Western Western world. And every single time the Colossal Titan transformed, it released a massive burst of energy capable of shaking the ground for hundreds of feet in every direction. Berthold used that exact transformation to breach the gate of Wall Maria and change the course of history in the series forever. That single moment is what started the entire story. If that same transformation happened on Liberty Island, the sheer force of it would be felt across the entire harbor. The ground would crack and the water would surge outward in every direction. The Colossal Titan was feared for a reason for over 100 years. Just the memory of its face appearing above the wall was enough to give entire generations nightmares. But there is one Titan in the series that makes even the Colossal look small. Ymir Fritz was the very first Titan in all of history. 2,000 years before Eren, before Marley, before the walls, a young slave girl with no name fell into a massive tree and made contact with a strange parasitic creature that changed the world forever. Her founding Titan is estimated to have stood at over 787 feet tall based on its appearance in the anime. The Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. stands at 555 feet tall. It took 36 years to build, and it remains the tallest stone structure on the entire planet Earth. There is nothing made of stone anywhere in the world that is taller, and Ymir Fritz's founding Titan would tower over it by at least 230 feet. She could step over the monument like a fire hydrant on the sidewalk. Her shadow alone would cover the entire National Mall. For 2,000 years after her death, Ymir was trapped alone inside the paths, building every single Titan that ever existed, using nothing but sand in her bare hands. Every Colossal, every armored, every attack, every beast, every jaw, every cart, every female, every Warhammer Titan that ever walked the earth was sculpted by her fingers in an endless desert of emptiness. She was not just the first Titan, she was the architect, the creator, and the prisoner of the entire Titan race. But even Ymir Fritz's terrifying original founding Titan is nowhere close to the largest Titan we have ever seen in the series, because her descendant, born 2,000 years after her death, created something so incomprehensibly massive. Eren Jaeger's founding Titan, in its skeletal form, is the single largest living creature in the entire Attack on Titan universe. Its exact height has been debated by fans for years, but based on the most careful frame-by-frame measurements, using the Wall Titans as a reference point during the battle at Fort Salta, Eren's skeletal founding Titan stands at approximately 2,300 feet tall. The Empire State Building, the structure that defined the New York City skyline for nearly a century, stands at 454 feet including its antenna. It was the tallest building in the world for 40 straight years. Eren's founding Titan would tower over it by almost 850 feet. The building that once symbolized the peak of human engineering would not even reach his shoulders. The One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the entire Western Hemisphere, stands at exactly 1,776 feet tall, and Eren's founding Titan would still tower over it by more than 500 feet. You could stack the full Statue of Liberty on top of the One World Trade Center, and Eren would still be looking down at both of them combined. During the rumbling, thousands of 197-foot Colossal Titans marched alongside this skeletal nightmare. Those same Colossal Titans that individually dwarfed the Statue of Liberty looked like ants crawling beneath Eren's ribcage. His spine stretched for miles behind him like an endless centipede made of bone, dragging across entire continents with every step. But here's the thing that most people completely forget. What we saw in the anime was not Eren's final form. It was incomplete. A skeleton with no muscle, no flesh, no skin. Just bones and a deformed head. Gabi's shot interrupted his transformation before it could finish. So the real question is, what would Eren's founding Titan actually look like at full body if Gabi had missed that shot? We already saw his massive skeletal form, but that was just bones. If Eren had completed his transformation, his founding Titan would have stood at over 2,300 feet tall with a fully formed body. The Empire State Building, one of the most iconic structures ever built by mankind, stands at 1,454 feet. It took over 3,400 workers and 7 million hours of labor to build it. Eren's founding Titan would tower over it by another 850 feet. It would not even reach his shoulders. The Statue of Liberty, the greatest symbol of freedom in America, stands at 305 feet from the ground to the torch. Eren would be over 7 times taller, and the One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the entire Western Hemisphere at 1,776 feet, would still be over 500 feet shorter than him. If Eren had completed his transformation, his founding Titan would have stood at over 2,300 feet tall with a fully formed body. Muscle fibers thicker than entire apartment buildings wrapped around bones the size of skyscrapers, skin so dense that nothing in the known world could leave a mark on it. Gabi did not just change the story with that shot, she changed the fate of the entire world. But honestly, in my personal opinion, even if Gabi had missed, I still believe the Alliance would have found a way to stop Eren. Not because they were stronger, but because Eren himself chose to give them a chance. He could have taken away their Titan powers at any moment, but he did not. He let them fight, he let them win. And that is what makes Eren Jaeger the most tragic character in anime history. He had the power of a god standing 2,300 feet above the earth.